And a very pleasant good morning to you wherever you are on the West Coast or the Mountain Time Zone, Central Time Zone as well. Still morning time on the East Coast. It's lunchtime, noon Eastern, 65 degrees in California. Your midday traffic report. Oh, wait, different newscast. Your midday lunch report, different newscast. I'm Vasi Vadaparty. Welcome to the Make the Money and Run podcast minute for Wednesday, June 16th, 2021. What a night in sports it was. We'll preview some of the games today. We're on at noon Eastern, 9 o'clock Pacific today, for the Make the Money and Run podcast minute as we get to the early baseball games we had. Speaking of baseball last night, we'll get to all the baseball. San Francisco Giants and Dodgers both won on the West Coast for those that missed it late night. A couple of NBA injuries to talk about as well, and the hockey playoffs are starting to get through as the Final Four are playing right now. Tonight, Vegas will play Montreal. Tampa Bay, who got a win over the Islanders yesterday, 4-2. We'll play tomorrow night. That series even at one game apiece. Vegas up 1-0. The two winners will go play for the Stanley Cup. You can catch us every Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays for a full show, 4:15 Eastern, 1:15 Pacific time, Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And thank you right now for everybody that is on Facebook Live and YouTube. If you missed any of the podcasts live with our worldwide famous picks, then you can download and subscribe anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeart, Google as well, Google Podcasts as well. So thanks to everybody. Charlie O, Casey Freelove on assignment. As I said, this is a Make the Money and Run Sports podcast minute. So right now we're going to hit Major League Baseball. How about well, first of all, the big news in the NBA. Let's hit the NBA first. The NBA, first of all, as we get to it, the Kawhi Leonard injury is big news right now. So Kawhi Leonard's going to be out for Game 5 against the Jazz tonight. The series tied at 2 games apiece. Mike Conley possibly out for Game 4 as well, but not as big a news as Kawhi Leonard, who's led the Clippers to 2 straight wins against the Jazz and 2 blowout wins they covered at home in both those games. The line has gone up from 2.5, Utah favored by 2.5, all the way up to 7 with Kawhi Leonard news coming out that he will miss Game 5 and possibly the rest of the series. So the Utah Jazz looking like they're going to be the favorite in this series now, especially if they don't get Kawhi Leonard. Paul George has to step up. Reggie Jackson has to step up. They've got to get play from their inside big man. Zubac has been good, but they're going to have to figure out a way to neutralize the Utah Jazz and Donovan Mitchell and Bojanovic and Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson, all the guys that can shoot for Utah. So the series tied 2-2, Game 5 tonight in Minnesota. We'll get to the lines in a second. Also big news in Phoenix. Phoenix Suns, who swept the Denver Nuggets in 4 straight, is going to be without their leader, Chris Paul. We don't know if he's been vaccinated or not because that's the protocol. 10 days he's going to be out unless he's been vaccinated, and he hasn't let anybody know if he is. He's always commented that's a personal decision. He shouldn't have to document it or tell it to us as the public, but I'm sure his team doctors, his team knows, and I'm sure the NBA knows as well, too. They're waiting for the winner of the Jazz Clippers to start the Western Conference Finals, depending on when that series is over. If the Jazz Clippers go to 7, they'll play through Sunday, and the WCF will start next week. If they don't go through Sunday and they end up playing Friday as the last game, then Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals will probably start. I think they're going to start on Tuesday no matter what. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but usually ABC or ESPN likes to have a game on Sunday. Philadelphia-Atlanta would be Game 7 on Sunday as well, and that game would be early in the morning on the West Coast. But right now, Philadelphia, how about Philadelphia? We'll get to the Brooklyn and Milwaukee game in a second, but Philadelphia 2-2 with Atlanta after blowing an 18-point lead by playing hero ball, according to Doc Rivers. Calls it hero ball. Too many shots, too many turnovers. Defense was lousy. Trae Young, Clint Capella, they all dominated from the third quarter on. From the 18-point lead, it was 60-42 at one point, and then they end up losing 103-100. That's Philadelphia. Game 5 tonight, Philadelphia. You got to get back on defense. Got to move the ball around a little bit. Can't take quick shots. They have to get the ball back into Embiid. Although Embiid says he's healthy, you got to believe that he's ready to go for this Game 5, according to Doc Rivers and according to Joel Embiid. He does have that knee injury. He sure looks like he flailed around a little bit the other day as well, too. But they did blow an 18-point lead. Series tied at 2, Game 5 tonight. All right, let's get to the lines real quick before we hit the amazing comeback by the Brooklyn Nets yesterday. Same deal. The Milwaukee Bucks blew a 17-point lead. Philadelphia blew an 18-point lead. And now Milwaukee looking on the outside looking in as they're down 3-2. Philadelphia 7 and 224 tonight. Defense going to be the key. They're at home. Atlanta can shoot. If they get hot, they played 2 close games in Atlanta, at least for a half, and then Philadelphia ended up blowing them out in the second half. We mentioned the Kawhi Leonard injury. Utah 7, 221.5 tonight. Had the over the other night, and it looked like it was going to go over on Monday night, but then they stalled the ball, and it did not get over. It ended up at 222 when you have an over at 223.5. Not good if you had the over. And then tomorrow night, all of a sudden, Milwaukee's a 5.5-point favorite. Do they know Brooklyn's up 3-2? This may be a situation where James Harden may not come out and play because they won the game yesterday. He was doubtful. In fact, we reported yesterday that he was going to be out. Kyrie Irving definitely out, but James Harden came back and played yesterday. Unbelievable. He wasn't very effective from a scoring standpoint, but he definitely made a decoy. And all Kevin Durant did was get 49 points, 18 rebounds, and 10 assists, a triple-double for KD. And he is the best pure shooter in the NBA. He and Steph Curry are the 2 best pure shooters in the NBA. Kevin Durant, I would say, is more of a scorer than Curry is, but Curry probably outshoots him a little bit, but it's pretty close right now. And the fact that he had Harden out there helped the game. The Nets have the 3-2 lead. They were down 17, and then KD took over. Unbelievable game last night. End up winning by 6, Game 6 in Milwaukee. What do you think? mtmarpodcast@gmail.com. I don't understand why Milwaukee's a 5.5-point favorite. I want to hear from all of you. You can catch us on all our social media and everywhere you get us: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even the Make the Money and Run page on Facebook as well, too. But why is Milwaukee 5.5 points unless they know that Harden is a possibility that he won't play and they'll save him for Game 7? Of course, you got to see about Kyrie Irving's injury. He had that high sprain ankle when he came down the other day on Sunday with that injury, the ankle injury. So we'll see what happens. But Milwaukee on Thursday night, a 5.5-point favorite, 220 the total. I got to think Brooklyn's going to get a lot of money on that. And I think that Brooklyn, that line will probably come down by the time game time happens, 7:30 Eastern on Thursday night in Brooklyn. All right, we talked about the NHL a little bit. We'll hit the baseball in a second. Vegas is minus 260 versus Montreal. They have a 1-0 series lead. They won 4-1 on Monday over Montreal. Got goals, got different goals, got an empty net goal later in the game. And then Tampa Bay won last night 4-2. That series even at 1 after the Islanders surprised the Lightning in Game 1 in Florida. 135, a road favorite tomorrow night. 5 is the total. What do you think about the NHL as we get down to the Stanley Cup participants? Montreal, with that travel waiver, they're able to get across the states to go to the United States, to Vegas to play. Maybe that opens up for the Blue Jays, who can get back to Toronto and play their home games in front of those fans in Toronto as well. All right, last night in baseball. How about baseball last night? As I put the National League lines up, for those of you that didn't watch, that were late to the party, San Francisco Giants are red hot. I live out here on the West Coast. I see the Giants every day. They're a good ball club. Their starting pitching is outstanding. Their defense is the key to their starting pitching. Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt, Buster Posey, all hitting well. Brandon Belt was in a slump. He's 5 for his last 8, going into coming off an 0-16 slump. Posey's been hitting the ball hard all day. Gabe Kapler, the manager, has had plans for him to take days off when assigned to, day games after night games, fourth games of a 4-game series. He'll take off, but definitely day games after night games. And he does not want to put him at first base, even though a lot of fans are clamoring for that bat to be in there. He's taking full games off. Maybe he's come out as a pinch hitter. But they were down 6-0, 7-0 in the second inning, 4-0 without even getting an out in the first inning. It was a bullpen game by Zach Littell, who started the game. Sammy Long came in and stabilized a little bit, but 7-0 after an inning and a half. Giants get 3 to make it. Steven Duggar, by the way, hitting the ball as well, too, for the Giants. 7-3. Then it was 7-4, 7-5. And then by the end of the game, 1:30 on the East Coast, 12:30 on the East Coast, 9:30 here, Giants ended up getting the bases loaded for a Mike Yastrzemski. It was 8-5. A Mike Yastrzemski grand slam. Now, he's had a tough year, and he's had injuries, and he's been on the injured list, and his swing wasn't back yet. But last night, Mike Yastrzemski, a game-leading grand slam in the bottom of the 8th inning. Taylor Rogers ends up shutting down the Diamondbacks in the 9th, and the Giants end up winning. They maintain their lead over the Dodgers, who got a 5-3 victory over the Phillies last night. 2 straight wins for the Dodgers over the Phillies. San Diego, I told everybody, San Diego's not going to be as good as everybody thought they were, and they're proving it right now. You can't lose 2 games to Colorado, even if you're in Colorado. I know they're major league players, and the Rockies have pride, but you got to beat Colorado. and they did not. And you can see by the line today, they still think San Diego minus 185 with Blake Snell on the mound against Kyle Freeland is a good bet, or that's where the line should be. 185, too much for the Padres on the road tonight, even with Blake Snell on the mound. Colorado Rockies have won the first 2 games, have helped. They are 5 games back of the Giants, 4 games back of the Dodgers in third place, and they would not even be in the wild card position. And that's because the Cubs and Brewers are tied for first place in the Central. But getting back to the Giants, holy cow, what a night for the Giants. Best record in the National League. Still a half game back of the Tampa Bay Rays, who lost to the White Sox. We'll get to the American League in a second. But the fact is that the Giants are red hot right now, and you can't feel sorry for Arizona. They've lost 12 in a row. They haven't won a road game in 21 games. They're in town for 2 more games. This is a chance for the Giants bats to get hot. They did yesterday. You feel sorry for Arizona a little bit, but you don't feel sorry for them until they leave town. Start feeling sorry for them on Friday. I would have loved to have heard the Arizona Grand Slam call, the Arizona call for the Grand Slam of Yastrzemski. I feel bad. The last road win for the Diamondbacks, Randy Johnson. Why do I keep saying Randy Johnson? Madison Bumgarner's no-hitter, notable achievement, whatever MLB wants to call it, back on April 25th. They haven't won a road game since April 25th. That's unbelievable to me. Today we've got Miami at St. Louis coming up in about 45 minutes. Milwaukee, Cincinnati. How about those Cincinnati Reds? They've won 3 in a row. They picked up 2 games to start the week against the Brewers and the Cubs. They've beaten the Brewers twice to the Reds, and the Cubs have lost twice to the Mets. So 148 for Freddie Peralta and Tyler Mahle tonight. Alcantara and Oviedo for Miami and St. Louis. Snell and Freeland, we said. Washington 160 with Espino and DeYoung. Chase DeYoung. Talked about him last week. He's Bernard Langer, the Hall of Fame golfer's son-in-law. So that's the notable note for Chase DeYoung. 160 for Washington, who's played well so far against the Pirates. They've come up with 2 wins. They're trying to make a run. They put Max Scherzer on the injured list. And New York, if it's a favorite 290 against a first-place team like the Cubs, it's got to be Jacob deGrom. He's not going to miss a start. He will be back today after being pulled after 6 innings. 6.5 the total. It's a bullpen game for the Cubs and Robert Stock. So New York 290, not going to lay 290, but Jacob deGrom starting for the Mets. He's must-see TV whenever he's pitching. The other 2 National League games we'll talk about. The Giants, 164, Anthony DeSclafani against Merrill Kelly, 8 the total. The Dodgers, 136, 7 the total. Tough game to pick there. Clayton Kershaw and Zach Wheeler going for the Phillies. Wheeler pitching really well these days. Philadelphia in second place behind the Mets. Dodgers in second place behind the Giants. All right, let's hit the American League here real quick. Lucas Giolito goes for the White Sox against Tampa Bay. Ryan Yarbrough going. The left-hander beat Baltimore on Friday. 134, Chicago favorites, 7.5. Brady Singer and Tarek Skubal, Kansas City Royals and the Detroit Tigers in Kansas City, 2:10 Eastern. 3:30 Eastern, 118 for Oakland versus the LA Angels. Cole Irvin, who's been their best pitcher, Cole Irvin, versus Griffin Canning, who's pitched really well for the Angels. The Angels have lost 2 in a row after having a 6-game winning streak that included the weekend sweep of the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Yankees got a big win last night in Toronto. They were down 5-2. They snapped their losing streak. They got a 6-5 victory late, and Aroldis Chapman shut the game down. Garrett Cole, the ace, going today against Ross Stripling in Buffalo. 8.5 the total. The Yankees, 154. Don't sleep on the Blue Jays. Vladimir Guerrero leading the American League in home runs, RBIs, and average, the Triple Crown categories. And then Aaron Savali, who pitched 8 innings last week against Seattle, going up against the Baltimore Orioles. They're terrible right now. 160 for Savali, 7.5 under, 7.5 the total for the game. Cleveland's bats a little struggling. Baltimore, we know Baltimore's situation is not very good, but Keegan Egan, a high draft pick for the Orioles, he's there. All right, that's baseball. But let's get into a little bit about this substance use that the pitchers are using on the ball. Rosin and sunscreen is a big thing that they've been using for years, and that's for the grip. If you've ever held a baseball, and I'm going to get a baseball here, my Dave Dravecki signed baseball from 2 years ago. But if you have the rosin and substance, if it's a cold baseball, this is warm, you hold on to it and the grip, it feels good, and you're able to get the grip you want, get the spin you want, and able to control it. Most hitters are okay with pitchers using some kind of rosin. That's why they have a rosin bag behind the mound, because 95 miles an hour, if you don't know where it's going, hitters are afraid to see how it's going. Now, this spider tack stuff that they're using, it's a combination mix of something. And what it does is allows better grip on it. So if I'm throwing a curveball like this and I'm coming down and I'm holding the tight down like that, that spin will go a lot faster than what it does. So Major League Baseball has come out with all the spin rates and all the revolutions going there, that they're the revolutions, the RPMs of the spin rate, that they're increasing exponentially to the point where they're not able to detect who's cheating, who's not. Well, thanks to Fangraphs and Sports Info Solutions, they'll be able to do that now by tracking the revolutions per minute in terms of miles per hour and how fast the spin rate is, et cetera. All that jargon. But the bottom line is they're trying to cut the cheating out of it. I'll tell it like this. The rosin sunscreen is good. I'll relate it to this. Rosin sunscreen is like going 40 miles an hour in a 35 mile an hour traffic zone. If you use that spider tack and your revolutions are exponentially increased, that's like going 100 miles in a school zone of 25 miles an hour. There's total differences. One is the letter of the law. One is completely breaking the law. And baseball is going to go after it. They're going to start checking pitchers in between innings. They're going to check in new pitchers when they come in during commercial breaks. And Major League Baseball will detect the spin rates as well too. I think a lot of it is trying to equalize out the field. Too many strikeouts, not enough offense for this generation. They're trying to figure out how to neutralize the pitchers, and it's already happened. Batting averages have gone up, strikeouts have gone down, but the number one thing that hitters are worried about is don't legislate too much, because they want to know where the ball is going so they don't have to fear for their lives in the batter's box if pitchers don't have control. Because believe me, this baseball feels a lot different on a 45-degree night in New York than it does in a 73-degree day game in San Francisco or Los Angeles. So I'll put that back up here. But that's kind of an indicator of what's going on here in terms of the spider tack or the rosin and sunscreen as well. So that's going to do it for us. Let me give you my picks here real quick before the worldwide famous picks. No picks from Casey today. No picks from Charlie today. Don't forget, we'll be back at 4:15 tomorrow, Facebook Live and YouTube Live. If you missed any of the podcasts, including these worldwide famous picks, you take the podcast, you get on your podcast sites, Apple, Google, iHeart, Spotify, SoundCloud. Download, look for the logo up in the right-hand corner, Make the Money and Run. Look for that logo, download, subscribe, rate, and review. Get to us on social media as well, too. All right, picks for today. Coming up in 45 minutes, as I said, we did this early shows, podcast minute. St. Louis Cardinals at home. They're playing well. They're only 4 games back now. The Reds are 3 games back of the Brewers and Cubs. The Reds are 3 games back, as I said. The Cardinals are 4 games back. They're at home against the Marlins. How are they getting underdog value at home? Oviedo, the rookie pitcher, going for the Cardinals. The ace, Alcantara, going for Miami. But the last time I checked, Miami can't score any runs, and the Cardinals have already beaten them twice. I know it's hard to, including beating their ace, Trevor Rogers, who's going to be the Miami All-Star this year. But they got to him yesterday in a 2-1 victory. It's going to be an underdog day in St. Louis, 110, plus 110 for the Cardinals. Tampa Bay, I'm a White Sox guy. That's my American League team. I was born on the south side of Chicago, and I love Lucas Giolito. Tampa Bay Rays have something special. Best record in the American League, best record in baseball, plus 124 with Ryan Yarbrough. White Sox hit left-handed pitching, but the Rays have hit pitching all year. They've done what they've had to do to win games. They won game 1 on Monday night behind Tyler Glasnow, who, by the way, is injured. And speaking of the spider tack and the rosin, he's claiming that because he's not able to use it, that it changed his mechanics and he hurt himself. He's on the injured list. So that's going to be a big blow for the Tampa Bay Rays. I know there's a lot of talk about Garrett Cole, Trevor Bauer, the common denominator between the Reds' RPM rates going up last year and the Dodgers' RPM rates going up this year. We'll see how Major League Baseball legislates it as well. But Tampa Bay plus 124 against the Cubs, 210 Eastern that game. 210 also for Milwaukee and Cincinnati. The Reds have won the first 2 games, but Freddie Peralta, one of the 3 aces the Brewers have, they're going to get a win tonight. It's going to be a low-scoring game, but I got a feeling that Milwaukee will pull through. Tonight, the San Francisco Giants. Don't feel sorry for the Diamondbacks. They're a professional ball club. The second you start feeling sorry for a club that's going through a rough time, it's going to happen to you. So you kick them when they're down, you take more games from them, and then you wish them well on Friday and hope they get better from Friday on after they leave town. San Francisco Giants, DeSclafani was awesome on Friday night against the Washington Nationals in that 1-0 win. The bats have come around a little bit, and I think against Merrill Kelly, Giants bats will go 164 tonight. Cleveland, I mentioned Aaron Savali, 8 innings last week against Seattle. He's going to pitch well against Baltimore. Baltimore has no offense to speak of right now. 160 for Cleveland, and Aaron Savali, the sidewinding right-hander. And then in interleague play, the Boston Red Sox, I had Atlanta yesterday, had a chance to tie it up. I had the Blue Jays yesterday. They blew a 5-2 lead. So a couple of pitches here or there. Alex Verdugo hit the game-winning home run in the 8th inning that gave the Red Sox a 10-7 victory. Garrett Richards, who's pitched well for the Red Sox is going up against Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson, a tough sophomore year for the Braves. And I can't believe that Garrett Richards is $1.34. The offense for the Red Sox has been good. They split the series so far, 1 game apiece. See what happens today. Actually, is that right? I'm not sure if they did or not. I believe, let me look at this as I go through it. Basketball, we'll talk about basketball, Philadelphia in a second, but let me look at this up here. Philadelphia, Boston on Monday. We'll get to that in a second. Oh, here it comes. All right, let's do it right now while we're doing live radio. They won on Monday against the Blue Jays. This is a 2-game series. So Boston won yesterday. Atlanta looking to split, but I think Boston sweeps this 2-game series behind Garrett Richards. Their offense better. Ian Anderson struggled this year, plus 134 for the Red Sox. A lot of underdogs, usually more underdogs than I usually have on my picks. Philadelphia and in the NBA, after blowing that 18-point lead, I think they're ready tonight for the Atlanta Hawks. They'll take a 3-2 lead. They will cover the 7 points against the Atlanta Hawks tonight. Joel Embiid will come back to playing his all-star self and will be good to go. One other set of American League games I want to make sure that we got to. Houston 215 over Texas. Texas horrible right now. The Astros bats coming in. And then Minnesota, who got blown out by Seattle last night. Bailey Ober, Justice Sheffield going for Seattle as well. But back to the picks here. Philadelphia -7 against Atlanta. Tomorrow, Charlie and I will be in studio, and we'll be able to give you our Thursday picks for the NBA, as well as preview all the Major League Baseball games for Thursday, review today, and also give you a preview for the weekend on Major League Baseball. All right, that's going to do it. Like I said, you can get to us Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays for a full-hour show. Vasi Vadaparty, Casey Freelove, Charlie O, 4:15 Eastern, 1:15 Pacific on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live, including our worldwide famous picks. Download and subscribe if you missed the live broadcast anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeart, and SoundCloud as well. So for Charlie O on assignment, for Casey Freelove on assignment, I'm Vasi Vadaparty. Have a great day. Good luck with your games. We'll see you tomorrow at 4:15 right here on Facebook and YouTube Live. Have a great afternoon, everybody.